Hello everyone, JP from Monetha here. Please do not mind the setting. I'm right now here in Singapore in my hotel room, and if you want to find out what is the reason why Monetha came to Singapore, please do view the last Monetha's Week in Review, in which we talk about the purpose of this trip. So as you can already tell, it's quite late at local time in Singapore, but I really wanted to make this video. In the last few educational videos, I talked about how 2017 was a speculative year for cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and how 2018 is going to be a switch where the majority of the population is going to pay more attention to what blockchain technology really is for its substance. So it really connects to what I want to talk today, and I do want to talk about which industries are going to benefit from the blockchain technology the most. So as you may already know, blockchain is not necessarily an application of the internet. It's more like the internet. It's more like a protocol, especially with the power of smart contracts. Thanks to Ethereum, it becomes more like a protocol, just like internet is, on which applications can be built, just like the internet, on which applications are being ran. For example, in 1993, not a lot of people imagined the possibilities of the internet, that so many applications can be built on the internet. People knew about the email, people knew about the informational access, but they did not have in mind all the crazy possibilities like e-commerce, media access, video calls, all these different applications on the internet. So we're thinking that the same thing is going to happen with the blockchain technology, where not only the mass population, but not even experts imagine where this can go in 25 years. Forget 25 years, it could be 10 or even 5 years. So as we think that it's going to happen, the same thing is going to happen with blockchain technology. We look back in 2017, and as mentioned, it was a booming year for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for other cryptocurrencies, but 2018 is going to be the blockchain disruption start kind of era, where more and more industries are going to take a look how blockchain technology can really help them differentiate from the competition, how it can help to give that competitive advantage. And in 2018, we're going to see so many companies release their own products and features on blockchain. And this is going to be a year where we're going to kind of have a longer kind of a horizontal view of where the blockchain technology can lead us. So let's talk about the industries that are going to benefit from this the most. So the first industry I want to talk about is, it is quite an easy target, but it is very important to Monetha, and it is financial sector. So financial sector, finance industry is going to go all in blockchain. This is our opinion, because blockchain is what finance sector always wanted to be: a safe and fair and public way to store money, of course, in a utopian way. And we're seeing many different regions like Asia, like Middle East, like Southeast Asia, who are thinking about the implementation of the blockchain technology in the financial sector. For example, in South Korea and Japan, they're testing a blockchain technology in which could help the traditional bank transfers have the same day bank transfers and cut costs like 30% by 30%. But we cannot forget, when talking about the finance industry, we cannot forget and ignore the giant, which is the United States, in which the majority of the financial institutions are being based. So for example, even the giants like the Bank of America are paying attention to the blockchain technology of issuing 45 it is, don't take that for granted, but it's either 43 or 45 patents on underlying the blockchain technology. When it comes to the payments leader MasterCard, it's 27 patents. So this kind of indicates that the major players are looking at the blockchain technology and can really benefit from that. However, we do have a problem, and that problem is a scalability problem, transactions per second problem. For example, Ethereum can handle 13 transactions per second, whereas Facebook can handle up to 175,000 requests per second. For example, Visa, 45,000. So to match these numbers, blockchain technology has really, it has to go into another level. That's why a lot of foundations and organizations like Ethereum are trying to solve this scalability issue and open up blockchain for hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. But is it going to happen? Yes, most likely, and the consensus is that it's going to happen in 2 to 3 years, but the finance sector has to prepare now, because the first mover advantage is going to be very important, and they have to understand how that is going to work in their framework today. Another industry I do want to talk about is even more hardcore than the finance sector. And we're all thinking about finance sector because blockchain and cryptocurrencies, well, blockchain has, the first feature, the first blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain has been the value exchange aspect, But there are many different layers of the blockchain technology, and other industries, not only finance sector, can benefit from that. And one of those is the Internet of Things. So adopting a standardized kind of a peer-to-peer communication model to process the hundreds of millions of transactions that IoT networks have can really cut the costs of maintaining these servers. And because there are so many different nodes, it could protect from having decentralized model could protect from having one node failure to bring the whole network to a collapse. So this is not only when we're talking about the benefits, but it takes a lot of responsibility, because securing and bringing security to IoT networks is not only about just protecting the sensitive data. It has a kind of decentralized solution to replace a centralized model. Right now, in these huge IoT networks, it would have to have some kind of a consensus or a validation algorithm to prevent theft, and it's not only about protecting the sensitive data. So to perform these kind of functions, again, we're kind of getting into that block, that the wall of scalability. But three fundamental functions would need to be kind of implemented if we would want to have this fully functioning IoT solution for blockchain, which would be peer-to-peer messaging, distributed file sharing, and autonomous device coordination. These three functions would have to run flawlessly in order for IoT to go all in. So as we can see from these two examples, there are some sort of issues which have to be which blockchain would have to overcome. But as the time passes on, there is there is a lot of money in this industry. There is a lot in this technology. There is a lot of human capital, a lot of intellectual capital, and that should be solved. There's a third industry that I want to talk about, and that's less of a hardcore industry from what I've talked previously, and that is media and music. So, for example, music had always an intermediary, a record label, a manager. Now we're thinking that it connects kind of artists get paid what they deserve, but now there are streaming services which collaborate with record labels. That's why you would see the A level artists getting paid really well, because they're getting money off of multiple streams of revenue, like touring. And less known artists get pennies. And blockchain could really remove the unnecessary intermediary. And if an artist would want that, he would get paid directly from the source, plus kind of mitigate the piracy problem. Let's go back to a more hardcore industry, and that is insurance. So insurance can really, in my opinion, it is one of the industries that could significantly benefit from the blockchain technology, and especially when we're talking about the smart contracts. And one of the main reasons is the fraudulent activity, or the fraudulent accidents, if you will, that are happening or being reported. So smart contracts could help in a way where so many different organizations and businesses, companies could collaborate and really share that data through blockchain and recognize the fraudulent activities. For example, the statistic is that from 5 to 10% of all reported accidents are fraudulent in the United States, and that costs, by the FBI statistic, $40 billion per year. So, of course, there is a lot of, again, a lot of work has to be put in, and a lot of kind of general consensus to which organizations would have to come in agreement with in order to bring the full effect into the insurance industry. But it is possible, and it's maybe coming a little bit later than, for example, the financial sector. But once it does, it should really revolutionize the whole industry. Then there is another industry, even more hardcore. We're going the further there is, the harder it gets. But or the more complicated industries we're talking about, it is an AI. And I'm not gonna act like I am a expert in this, but I talked to Ben Gortzel from the Singularity Net in Estonia in the Monetha conference. By the way, great conference, and he is a really interesting person. That's first of all, but second of all, very smart one. I think they already did their ICO. Congratulations to them. And when we talked about how blockchain can benefit AI, it definitely comes to a sharing options and the communication and learning capabilities of AI, where a decentralized model could really help to do that more efficiently, with faster kind of learning, and that's highly beneficial for artificial intelligence. So again, there's one more thing that is there's trust models implemented. It could be implemented between devices when communicating. So there are multiple layers of benefits for the artificial intelligence. Another industry that is going to be, would have some kind of potential of disrupting, and this is very interesting one, especially for those who are living in the United States, is healthcare. For example, the medical practitioners who are, who have to get sometimes physical access to records in order to view them. When it comes to sharing, it gets even more complicated because there's sensitive data in that. So blockchain can really benefit the medical practitioners and the doctors to that, where they can spend more time in the places that they need, which means with their patients, and without kind of manually being in the office and transferring these health records. I know that many Many companies right now, many decentralized app coins are trying to solve this problem, and we're going to see a lot of disruption is in there, especially because there are going to be institutional money being put into this, and governmental money being put into this, as the United States are going to because they're paying so much attention to the healthcare. I think that they're going to also get their focus into blockchain and how that can help their healthcare industry. So one more industry that I want to cover is, I might be biased about that, but that is e-commerce. So e-commerce is getting this exponential growth, this stellar growth, but I think the last pillar of e-commerce is still unlocked yet, and that is trust. Since the beginning of time, when we're talking about commerce, there's always been that problem of making the leap of faith, where the seller and the buyer have to trust each other. Not only the buyer has to trust the seller, but also vice versa. And when that comes down, there's lack of efficiency, lack of time. The cost inefficiency also included, especially when we're talking about the peer-to-peer commerce. So with Monetha, we're solving that through a decentralized trust and reputation system. I think the ones who are viewing this are going to really know what I'm talking about. But all in all, blockchain technology is going to be, it's finally the thing where immutability, the transferability, the public records are really going to come in and swoop the problem of trust via the technological way, not trusting a centralized authority to do that, which actually most of the time owns the reputation themselves, but empowering the people with the reputation in a decentralized model. So this is going to be a very interesting year, where a lot of products, where a lot of features are going to be built on blockchain. I don't even want to start how many decentralized apps there are, but some of them are gonna, of course, fail. Some of them are going to survive. Some of them are going to thrive. But it's going to be a very similar scenario as it was in the early 2000s, when we had the dot-com bubble. And it had its own failures, and it had its own survivors, like Amazon, like PayPal, like Google, or even eBay. I think the same thing is going to happen with the blockchain, with blockchain's decentralized apps, and we're going to see different industries implementing this. So it's funny, where 2017 was a year where even before that, before that, when it was absolutely cold, everybody thought that blockchain coming into many different industries and disrupting those industries was a kind of a long shot and too ambitious of a dream. But now, as there are companies like IBM, like Myers, like even Walmart, are trying not only to think about how blockchain technology can help their business and give that competitive edge, but also already implementing that. Like MasterCard, like the Bank of America, as told previously, they're doing their homework now that they could kickstart the revolution when the blockchain technology is fully in the effect and could fully help them to do that. So I do want you to think about your industry, whether you're working for a company or you own a business. Think about how blockchain can help you, and that comes, think about in the prism of the verticals of the public records, of the immutability, of the transferability, of a decentralization, where your business can benefit. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure that that you would find that model where it could help your business or the company that you're working for, and your company wouldn't become, you know, the Kodak of the world, or the Blockbuster, or the Nokia, the company which really looks forward, and in this type of scenario looks forward to the blockchain implementation. So I really want to thank you for this, for being with me in this video and paying attention. Hopefully it has been over 20 minutes. So this is the longest video that we've made in terms of the educational videos. So suggest your topic. This was the topic which was suggested by one of our community members. If you want to hear about something in the lines of cryptocurrencies or blockchain, or any questions about trust and reputation or e-commerce mobile payments, feel free to suggest a topic and we will talk about it. So thank you so much once again for your attention, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.